Thank you. Yes, good afternoon. It's good to see you all. And particular thanks to Lumina Foundation, Democracy and Culture Foundation, all of you who made this opportunity possible for all of us this afternoon. I'm curious, before I begin, how many of you are currently studying or working on a university campus or a college? Right? A good number. How many of you in this room feel that a college or university experience shaped the way you engage with the world? Right. Most of us do. This is the point. As Kristen said earlier, we are here in the city that is the cradle of civic education. And at Citizens and Scholars, we believe that that is one of the fundamental missions of higher education. Ours is an organization that has been around for 80 years. Not under that name. We began as something called the Woodrow Wilson National Fellowship Foundation. So we have a very long network of contacts in higher education. We now work with young people ages 14 to 24 to help them prepare for productive, engaged, thoughtful citizenship. But as Kristen said, I'm talking to you today specifically about the work that we're doing in higher ed with a coalition that's called College Presidents for Civic Preparedness. And I want to tell you a little bit about how that coalition came to be. Our president, Raj Vinakota, joined us in 2019, having already done a good bit of work in K through 12 civic education. And with this long history in higher education, we said, how might those two things intersect? And so we began to have a series of conversations with college presidents from a range of institutions, large ones, small ones, public, private, different parts of the country, different politics. To a person, every one of those presidents said, we feel that civic learning and the preparation of citizens needs to become, once again, more central to the work of the university. In the US, they said, we feel that the pendulum has swung too far away from the public good, which is to say that for too many institutions and too many young people, going to higher education has become simply about getting a credential and entering the workforce. Crucially important, but not the only thing higher ed is there to do. As all of our speakers have already said, being on a campus helps you prepare to engage differently across perspectives, to work across perspectives, and really to situate yourself in the world. So this group of college presidents said, we think it would be important to form a coalition of the willing, to get together a group of presidents like ourselves who can learn from each other. Many of these institutions don't often have the opportunity to be in the same room together. They tend to cluster by type in the United States. And so they gathered as a group initially of 14 presidents, and then a couple dozen, and then 77, and then came the Gaza-Israel conflict in October of 2023. And all of a sudden, there were more than 120 presidents in this coalition. Today, that group of presidents represents a total of more than 750,000 undergraduates at their institutions, and we are eager to continue to scale this work. All of the presidents who have signed on as part of College Presidents for Civic Preparedness agreed to champion 3 commitments on their campuses. I won't read them off to you, you can read the slide, but as we've been discussing, key to it is the understanding that democracy is really what higher education is about. I think Terry said as part of her opening remarks that without democracy, our education systems don't work, but without our education systems, democracy doesn't work. The flip is true as well. So they see this crucial importance. They see it as essential to prepare young people to really engage across the many differences in our country and frankly in our world. And above all, we've talked already about academic freedom, to make sure that free inquiry is seen as the opportunity to exchange perspectives and experiences. Let me say, by the way, since my colleagues have already had a number of asks for you, I would love to hear from you at the break about what's going on your campus to further civic learning, particularly if you're not in the United States, because we have a lot to learn there. In any case, we ask these presidents to sign on to these civic commitments and to keep us posted on how they are doing this work on their campuses. We also have a couple of projects that have manifested this vision that the presidents have. The very first one is something that we call the Faculty Institute. Initially, a group of presidents said to us, our number one priority is to make this easier for our faculty members. It's not like faculty members don't facilitate conversations across difference in the classroom every day. And in fact, many of the faculty who do that work have literally written books on the subject of politics and communications and so on. But for all that, when something goes wrong in the classroom, when this person wearing this t-shirt and that person wearing that t-shirt get into it, there might be a moment of, uh-oh, now what? Or when the phones come out, a faculty member may think, oh, how do I handle this situation? So the president said, we would very much like something that would help our faculty members become more comfortable with conversation across difference in the classroom. We looked around the field, didn't see a lot that existed already, and so we have put together this thing called the Faculty Institute, which helps participants practice civil discourse skills as well as design courses and workshops to help their students and even their colleagues do the same. And we do this work across disciplines. Not only have we had political scientists and experts in communication come to these faculty institutes, of which we've now done 6 with more than 150 faculty members from 42 institutions. We've also had population biologists and engineers and others who simply care about this work, who are coming to learn how to manage difficult conversations in their classrooms. Another key aspect of this work that we're doing is something that we call campus-wide immersion. So I mentioned a moment ago that there are 120 plus institutions now working with us. A subset of those, 27, soon to be 40, because we're about to grow that group, have said, we want to do this in a way that touches every undergraduate on our campus. In the United States, almost every campus has something that relates to civic learning, but it's often only for the students who opt in, who seek out these centers, who want to do this work. So there is a group of campuses that are increasingly saying, no, we really want to center this work on campus. We want it to be part of everyone's college experience. So with this group of institutions, which we hope to grow to 90 over the course of the next few years, we work with them on an individual basis. They form a group of stakeholders, faculty, staff, students, and they create their own local plan. We don't hand them a template and say, go back to your campus and do this. We work with them to help them understand what assets they already have, how they can put together a plan that specifically works for their campus, with the ultimate goal of empowering students to have conversations across difference, to understand how to navigate information, and to solve problems across differences. So this campus-wide immersion work, as I said, is driven by an action council on each campus. I would be kidding you if I said every campus had students on their action council, but we are pushing them to have students on their action councils. More and more of them are finding ways to include students because, as V said a moment ago, we can't just talk at students. Students need to be at the table. At the same time, this work has to be driven by presidents and faculty members because the faculty members are on the front line. The presidents have the resources and the opportunity to set the priority for this work. So in this campus-wide immersion work, as I said, our ultimate goal is to continue to grow it until we reach at least 90 campuses over the next several years. We believe that this work is critically important. Basically, we're trying to start a movement in American higher education to put this work back at the center. You'll find us online at citizensandscholars.org. The specific project I've been talking about is at collegepresidents.org. You can find there a list of all the participating institutions and more about the projects that I've just mentioned. And as I said, I look forward to talking with you at the break. Thank you.